Figma escaped a $20 billion buyout only to watch its stock collapse 80%. But the real nightmare for investors starts on January 27th when the final safety net disappears and hundreds of millions of shares hit the market at once. The story of Figma used to be the ultimate Silicon Valley triumph because we all saw them dodge a massive acquisition from Adobe only to go public and watch their valuation skyrocket to heights that honestly defied the laws of financial gravity. But when you look at what has happened since that July 25th IPO, the picture isn't just ugly, it is structurally compromised in a way that most retail investors simply don't see until it's too late. We are looking at a classic broken IPO dynamic, where the underlying business is actually doing okay, but the stock itself has become a toxic asset because of how it was built and how the people on the inside are currently treating it. You have to understand that when Figma priced at $33 a share, the market was so hungry for a high-growth SaaS play that they squeezed a tiny 9% float all the way up to an intraday high of over $142. That is a scarcity squeeze, plain and simple, and it created a trap where anyone who bought into the hype at $80 or $100 is now staring at a crater in their portfolio, while the people who actually own a company are heading for the exits. Now, if you just look at the balance sheet, you might think the company is a fortress because they have $1.6 billion in cash and they are actually producing positive free cash flow, which is rare for a company at this stage of the growth cycle. Therefore, you would think there's no risk of them coming to the market to beg for more money through a secondary offering or a predatory at-the-market facility, and technically you would be right. But the forensic reality is that Figma doesn't need to issue new shares to stay alive because they are already diluting the living daylights out of the current shareholders just to pay their light bill and their developers. In the third quarter of 25 alone, they recognized a stock-based compensation expense of nearly $1 billion. To put that in perspective, imagine you own a small piece of a pie and the baker tells you the pie is growing, but then he hands out 1,000 more forks to his staff before you even get a second bite. That nearly billion-dollar charge was triggered by the IPO as a liquidity event, and it represents a massive transfer of value from the people buying the stock on the open market to the people working inside the building. This brings us to the most immediate and terrifying red flag on the calendar, which is the January 27th lockup expiration. For the last 6 months, the vast majority of Figma's shares have been essentially frozen in carbonite, held by the founders, the employees, and the massive venture capital firms like Index, Greylock, and Sequoia, who got in years ago when the company was worth pennies compared to today. But on January 27th, that ice melts. We are talking about 46% of the total outstanding shares suddenly becoming eligible for sale. Even though the company was smart enough to get some holders to extend their lockup for another year, the amount of supply about to hit the tape is still several multiples of the daily trading volume. And you have to ask yourself why the venture capitalists would hold. These firms have a fiduciary duty to return cash to their limited partners, and even though the stock has dropped 80% from its highs, these early investors are still sitting on 3 times to 10 times returns on their original capital. They aren't looking at the $32 price and thinking about how much they lost from the peak. They're looking at it and seeing a massive profit they need to lock in before the window closes. But the most damning evidence isn't even the lockup, it's what the people who know the company best did just days ago. In mid-January of 26, the CEO, Dylan Field, sold $10 million worth of shares at prices right around $32. Think about the psychology of that for a second. This is a man who saw his company valued at nearly $70 billion at one point, and yet here he is selling millions of dollars worth of shares at the literal all-time low. If the CEO believed $32 was a generational buying opportunity or that the stock was poised to bounce back to $50 or $60 after the lockup, he would wait. You don't sell $10 million worth of stock 2 weeks before a massive supply shock unless you're worried that the price is going even lower. Therefore, his actions are screaming louder than any press release ever could. He's joined by the CFO and the Chief Revenue Officer, who have also been consistently liquidating shares to cover tax obligations and diversify their holdings. While those automatic sales are common, the total lack of any insider buying is the real story. Not a single executive or director has stepped up to buy a single share of this company with their own money at these depressed levels. They're watching the ship take on water and they are making sure their personal lifeboats are fully gassed up and ready to go. So, we have this massive supply coming and we have insiders fleeing, but then you have to look at the valuation and realize that Figma is still not a bargain compared to its peers. Even after this 80% wipeout, Figma is trading at a price-to-sales multiple of around 13.6, while its primary rival, Adobe, is trading closer to 9 or 10. This means the market is still pricing in a massive growth premium for Figma, but that growth is starting to come under fire from artificial intelligence. The original bull case for Figma was that it was the collaborative king of design, but now you have tools like Figma Make trying to automate the very process they pioneered, and competitors like Canva and even Apple are moving into the space with AI-driven tools that could turn professional design into a commodity. The company is trying to pivot, and they're hiring AI-native talent as fast as they can, but that transition is expensive, and it's happening right as the market's patience for money-losing tech companies is at an all-time low. When you look at the trading data, it gets even more suspicious because nearly half of the short volume is happening in dark pools. This suggests that the big institutional players are hedging their bets or actively betting against the stock in places where their tracks are harder to follow. They are likely shorting the stock ahead of the lockup expiry, knowing that the mechanical pressure of hundreds of millions of shares hitting the market will create a natural downward draft. It's like watching a dam that already has visible cracks in it and seeing the engineers moving their equipment to higher ground. The retail crowd is often the last to know, and they see a stock down 80% and think it has to be a deal, but they forget that a stock that's down 80% can still go down another 80% if the structural integrity of the equity is broken. The float trap that was set back in July of 25 has already sprung, and the people caught in it are the ones who bought the narrative of the next Adobe. But the reality is that Figma is currently a controlled liquidation. The market makers are widening their spreads because they don't want to hold this inventory. And every time the company reports good news, like the third quarter earnings beat, the stock gets sold off anyway. That is the ultimate sign of a bear market for a specific stock. When the news is good but the price goes down, it means the big money is using every single bounce as an opportunity to exit their positions. They are selling into the strength because they know the January 27th deadline is a hard ceiling on any potential rally. Therefore, you have to look at the total red flag score and realize we're in dangerous territory. The dilution isn't coming from some desperate shelf offering or a toxic convertible note. It is baked into the very DNA of how the company pays its people and how its early backers are looking for an exit. It is a slow-motion car crash where the momentum is entirely on the side of the sellers. We are seeing a broken IPO, where the price discovery process is finally happening after a year of artificial scarcity, and that process is likely to lead us into the mid-20s or lower before we find any semblance of a real floor. Until the lockup shares are fully absorbed by the market and the insiders actually start putting their own skin in the game by buying shares on the open market, any rally you see is just a temporary air pocket in a much longer fall. You have to be willing to look past the cool factor of the software and look at the cold, hard mechanics of share supply and demand, because right now, the supply is an ocean and the demand is a puddle.